It's the Football Prophets.
What's up to the FP family? Welcome to a new episode of Football Prophets, where two friends talk all things American soccer. I'm your host, Michelle, and I'm here with my good friend, Coach David Johnson. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well, Michelle. We got some technical difficulties sorted out, all thanks to you, so we should be smooth rolling going forward. We got a good pod ahead of us. We're covering 2 MLS game weeks. A new soccer tournament that started up. And the U.S. men's national team dropped their Nations League roster. So we got a lot to talk about. It's gonna be a good one.
You know what? When we started the episode, I just noticed that we low-key kind of matched. I didn't even know that. I was just me looking at like the image. You know, I'm like, we got red and black. I'm like, oh, I didn't even.
You know, my girl pointed out like a few times now that we just match on like almost every episode.
For real?
Yeah, like probably like 10 of the episodes we've done.
That's what we do, man. Great mind thinking. Like, all right, so let's dive right into the game here, man. LAFC and Lyon, man. Let's get it started with that. What we got going on there, man?
So that was the CONCACAF Champions League. It's the final, even though it's not the final.
Because
it's a 2-game or a 2-leg match final. Which is different than you see in the European Champions Leagues, where it's just one game at a different location, a neutral venue. This is a home and an away. So LAFC played in Mexico. I believe it's the first time they've played in Mexico this whole tournament so far. It's a crazy place to play. Any Liga MX team and their atmosphere with their fans, it's different. And LA found that to be true because this game went up 2-0 quick, right? And it was dominance by Lyon. And LAFC just were stagnant the whole time. They couldn't figure out how to get out. Like, they couldn't get players on ball like Denis Bouanga. They couldn't do anything. They were just stifled the whole game by Lyon. And then Lyon had a chance to make it 3-0 and put this series to bed, right? Like, don't even bother really playing the second leg because it would be dead at 3-0, right? And they put the ball in the net, and it got called back for a foul in the build-up play. That gave LAFC a lifeline. And it's something we've been saying this whole season is Denis Bouanga is inevitable. He will score. It's just when. Right? The man is a machine. He has been put on this planet to do one thing and one thing only, and that's score goals. And he got his goal in extra time to make it 2-1. So a scenario that could have very easily been 3-0 on the road is now a 2-1 road game. That's a borderline win for LAFC.
I don't know if I'm the one who said it. Every time I look at him, I just feel like I see a CEO of a company that scores goal. Like, it's like you just have like he's a CEO of a company that just scored. Like, their goal is, it's not like a company to make phones. We score soccer goals. That's just what we do, and I'm the CEO of it. It's like every time it's on the field, it's just like, oh, I know they're gonna get at least one. So one thing though I gotta ask though is that on championship game, I've never been a fan of like when a goal, like an actual goal goes in for a call back to happen on like whistle sometimes I've blown early, but I've never been a fan of it. What's your take on that?
I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, it's a big gut punch, right? Because obviously before VAR, that goal would have counted because the referee in the moment said there wasn't a foul in the play. Let's play continue. Goal happens. So now in the world of VAR, they have like a panel of people sat at a remote location, re-going through everything, looking to see if the slightest handball happened, offsides, all this stuff, right? So it takes away from really your ability to celebrate goals in the first place, because as soon as you put the ball in the net, now you're thinking, all right, is it going to be a real goal? Should I celebrate this one, or am I just going to look stupid and waste my celebration? And then the next time around, it won't mean as much. You know what I mean? So like, you see player celebrations be less for this reason, because goals do get taken back.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a bigger gut punch for a team that should be up, right? They should be excited. They just went up 3-0.
Yeah.
Right? And now, it got taken away from us.
Takes the life out of you.
Now it feels bad, and now the momentum shifted. Whereas if the referee just got the call on the field correct the first time and called a foul, they would have never had the experience of putting the ball in the net and then having it taken away.
Yeah.
And that's a different mentality, right?
Yeah.
And I think if that call happened on field and it just simply stayed at 2-0, they didn't go up to 3-0 and then go back down to 2-0 and have that emotional roller coaster, I don't think they would have let LAFC score, because you see after that happens, that's when LAFC actually starts to find a rhythm. And I think it's the mentality of the Lyon players being so high and then dropping so low when it gets taken away, right? And their mindset isn't necessarily on the game, it's on the refereeing, it's on being robbed, this, that, and the other. And I think that changed the game more than anything LAFC did.
Yeah.
So it's disappointing to see that happen, but ultimately you want to see the right decisions happen. You want to see goals that should count stay, right? You don't want to see a whole lot of offside goals or goals that didn't cross the line be called that they crossed the line, or vice versa, right? So ultimately VAR is a good thing.
It is.
But it does have this change of where it really can deal emotional blows to teams that should be still staying dominant.
Yeah. Maybe it should be a rule. I feel like maybe if it's a build-up play, man, I think they should have like a 30-45 second rule or something. If it's within that.
There is that rule. Yeah. It has to be what they consider in the phase of play.
In the phase of play. Okay. And that's why I wanted to kind of get your opinion, because for those who don't know, Coach David coaches at Withrow High School in Cincinnati, and I was just kind of...
we do not have VAR.
Yeah, but I was just...
not a luxury.
Y'all can get VAR?
No.
Okay.
I'm still trying to figure out how to get the cameras to record our games in general. Like, we haven't been able to figure that out, so it's rough at Withrow at the moment.
I was trying to give you some props there. Well, you had to spill it all out.
No, it's rough. It's rough. We don't have
the reason why I was asking is I wanted to know what if that happened. Final game. Let's say you were tied 1-1. Build up. Foul maybe happen. One of your kids just gets a ball. Go. And then it gets called back. How does Coach David react? And then we're gonna move on to SKC, but I want to just, how do you react as a coach?
I mean, you just gotta settle your players down.
Man, get out of here. You're not gonna settle nobody.
Let them know that goal happened, right? Like, regardless, you gotta motivate them and be like, "Hey, we did it now. We can do it again." Right? It's just gonna take an extra time, but we're gonna get another one. Okay. Keep rolling.
Let me tell the truth. David will be pissed. I will love to be, but you in a final. Let's just say you're in the state final.
I have never once yelled at a ref.
You take this team to state. 1-1, 35 seconds left on the clock. Goal gets called back. Honest answer.
Honest answer? I say nothing to the refs. I say nothing but motivate the kids.
For real. After the game, what happens?
I go into the locker room, tell the kids that they played one heck of a game, and I tell them it got robbed from us.
You come home.
I let them know.
So there will be no part of you that'll be somewhat pissed.
No.
For real?
No.
We're different there, because I would be livid.
These things happen though. Like,
I know. I've been part of games where it happened, but
it'll happen where, and referee decisions in general, you get some that go your way, you get some that don't go your way. At the end of your career, it's 50.
What I'm trying to get is not you personally, just I'm talking about the emotion in it. Bro, you will be...
Well, that's what I'm talking about with the players. It's not necessarily anger.
So I'm saying that, like, it's they reacted how that makes you react.
It's that roller coaster, the up to the down. Yeah. That's the big thing there.
Yeah, well, hopefully. So who you got before we move on? Next leg game they're playing it here. Looks like on Sunday, 9 p.m.
Yeah, so by the time this drops, it will have happened.
Yeah, but as this is going to drop. Actually, we're gonna have a clip of it. I'm gonna try to see if I can have a clip of this go out a little bit. But it's just our prediction. But prediction, who you got? I'll get the prediction out early. Who you got? Who you got winning?
LAFC win on penalties.
I can see that. I can see that. All right, awesome. Apparently, we didn't get the memo, but SKC learned how to play soccer, man.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, their tables turned when they played my Sounders, and that's when they got good. But no, they've done something actually kind of impressive here.
Yeah.
So in their first 9 games of the season, they lost 7, their first 10 games of the season, they lost 7, tied 3, won 0. Right, so they had 3 points in 10 games. In the month of May, they went 4 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, got 13 points. They accumulated more points in the month of May than any other team in MLS. In the month of May, they were the best team in MLS with a 4-1-1 record. This is a team that went 0-7-3 to start the season.
Could not buy nothing positive.
Like, we were talking about manager being fired, all of this, right? Like, and now they're on one of the hottest streaks in MLS. Better than Cincinnati for the month of May. Better than LAFC for the month of May.
You think it's continuing, or you think it's gonna die?
I think it will trickle down a bit. I don't think it's going to go back to
what it was,
7-3.
Yeah,
but I could see them now dropping to being like a 500 team.
They just go and lose the rest of the season.
No, I don't think that will happen. But
what do you think made the change?
Honestly, I have no idea. When I look at them play, I don't see anything happen.
They just stayed the course.
Yeah, I have no idea why this got better. None.
Okay,
but it did. So
fair enough.
Well on them.
Keep doing what you do. All right, awesome. So Vancouver dismantled Houston, man. So we talk about Houston, like giving them praise last episode a little bit. The episode before that,
I think we talked about them in the Open Cup. I can't remember.
In the Open Cup. Oh yeah, we did talk about them in the Open Cup. Yeah, you're right. But it looks like they got a big L ended to them, and
yes, big L.
The heaviest L.
6-2 loss, and I want to pull this one up here because it was absolutely wild. We're talking about roller coaster rides, right? This was about as big of a roller coaster ride as you could possibly get. All right, they go down 1-0, Houston to Vancouver, 1-0 in the first minute. Pedro Vite gets the goal.
Let's get it going.
They equalize in the 8th minute. Right? Then 10 minutes later, they go back down 2-1. Sorry. Not 8 or 10 minutes later. Then 8 minutes later, they go up 2-1. Right? So now it's 2-1. They flipped the script. They went down in the first minute of play. And then in the 16th minute of play, they are winning this game. That's wild. Right? And then in the 18th minute, they're tied. And then second half, like it falls apart for Houston, and Vancouver put 4 on them in the second half. 46th minute, 59th minute, 88th minute, and 95th minute. Right? Absolutely killed them. 6-2. 6 goals is the most goals Vancouver has ever scored in an MLS game. Like, they set the record, not tied the record. They broke the record, set it. This is the standard for Vancouver, who are a very entertaining team. Like, we've talked about them pretty highly on this show.
Yeah.
They're not a bad team.
They're not
but they're not an LAFC. Yeah. They're not a Cincinnati, right? Like, they're not a team that should put 6 on you. Especially Houston, who they have been flying. They've been playing well.
So I'm going to kind of go back on that with you saying they're not a team that should put 6 on you, but this is professional sport. If you sleep on people here, you get 6 put on you fast, because these are professional people who most of everybody who's on this team, even if we say they're not the elite of the elite, at some point in their life they were the elite. That's why they made it this far. So if you sleeping on the team, you definitely can get this business. Like I'm my only thing with them, this is a question I had because I didn't watch the game, were the supporter singing like the Columbus supporter would if this happened?
They were not.
They that's disappointing.
They were not.
That's disappointing.
It is a little crazy. So if you think about this, Vancouver put.
There was a red card.
There was, but it was already 4-2 at that point, right? Like 4-2 with 20 minutes left of the game.
Come back.
It was going downhill fast for Houston. But if you think about this, they put 6 on them. They only put 7 shots on target. So the Dynamo goalkeeper, all right?
Stop. No. I just saw that they only put 7 shot on target and 6 of them went in.
6 of them went in. So he made 1 save. And now this is bad. That's bad in itself, but it gets worse. After the game, he's walking out and he's getting a lot of boos and like getting like jabbed at like verbally by the Vancouver fans. And he has the audacity to flex on him, hit both arms up, flex
benched
on him, and kind of like nod his head at the. Bro, you let in 6 goals on 7 shots.
I'll be humble.
And you're gonna flex on supporters? Like, that's the point. When you start getting that negative stuff and supporters are yelling at you doing that, they should be.
Can I say something?
They're doing their job as supporters. You let in 6 goals, just take it. Walk into the locker room.
No, I want to say something though. For him to have the audacity and the mental strength to pull that off, kudos. I can't even hate right now.
Man was crying on the inside.
I don't. But you know, bro. We're people. There's a moment where you're crying, but you gotta put that face up. And I think,
you know how stupid you look to be doing all that.
My boys say it don't matter. We gonna flex on them.
6 goals off of 7 shots, and you want to flex on the fans.
It happens.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't happen. This is the first time Vancouver's ever scored 6. This has never happened.
It had to happen, man.
No, it didn't.
This is always that precedent, and this was it.
This was so bad that it's one of those games where you're just watching Clark in the net, and you're just like, I feel for this man. Like, I want to just go through the TV screen and give him a hug. Like, this poor dude. After, like, I think the 5th goal, he just sat on the ground with his head, like, kind of tucked between his knees for half a second.
Yeah.
I was like, I think he might be crying.
Yeah, so talking
about
a Houston player crying. This hasn't been the greatest run for them because they got another L.
They did. Tonight.
So they accumulated total of 9 goals.
Yes, because
and get this before we go. Was this in the same? I got to look at this real see if it's still the same goalkeeper. This time, St. Louis puts 5 shot on target and 3 of them go in.
Yes, and I believe it was Clark in net tonight.
Oh my goodness!
I'm fairly certain.
Oh my goodness, let me look at the lineup just right now. I'm putting it up. If it's him, I'm done. If it's him, you know what?
It's Clark.
I gotta find this dude on social media and make him my friend, bro.
So
confidence.
But the thing with this game is the most, I think, illuminating thing for this game.
2 of them were penalties though. So
2 of them were penalties, but at one point, Franco just goes mental. He's not even on screen, and a little like scruffle is going up. A couple guys are shoving each other. You just see him sprint into the picture, grab a guy from around the shoulders, and toss him to the ground. Right? Gets a red card. Eventually, that red card gets rescinded and turned to just a yellow card because there was simulation. It was Gioacchini. He went down very easily.
Yeah.
But he just comes out of nowhere to throw a guy to the ground. We saw that happen.
With
Costa, for LA, and he got a red card, right? It was almost the exact same thing, just less violent of a throw. But afterwards, Franco is getting pulled back from his teammates, and his teammates are screaming at him. He's screaming at them, trying to shove his own teammates. They have lost the plot in Houston right now. They're fighting each other. They're doing unnecessary things to potentially get red cards. It is going downhill very, very quick in Houston. These last 2 games, they had a good run, but right now it is rough in Houston.
You think I just never saw. I think I was in the beginning in the standing. I didn't really think Houston was going to go that far.
I think I put them dead last.
Yeah, I think we both.
I think you did a little better than me, but
I think it was. I had him like 2 before last or 1 before last, and then we made fun of him, and then you said we were gonna fight everybody in Houston. I don't want to fight nobody in Houston, man. The way Franco's acting, I ain't trying to get thrown on the ground, man. But
the one thing I do want to point out from this game though, that I did think was interesting. One of the penalties, it was the last one. It was to put them up 3-0. The game was pretty well in hand at this point. I think it was already like the 83rd minute, and they were up 2-0. But Lowen steps up to take the penalty, and you see Gioacchini kind of walk up to him and essentially be like, "Can I get this?" And Lowen just kind of like pushes, like kind of waves him off.
Yeah,
and then like
Not
after
today,
like
bro.
a second, he just kind of turns back around, and goes, "Yeah, you can have it," and hands him the ball. I'm like, that is good leadership there, right? That's like captain material.
Yeah.
Give a young kid who is a goal scorer an easy goal in a game where you're already got a guarantee, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not
kinda, it gives him a little bit more confidence.
It does, and then it builds the team spirit.
Having your kind of like your vet trust you to put it away, that's definitely a big one. Okay, so it looks like Neville was out after the loss to New York Red Bulls, man.
Yeah, so not this game week, but the midweek game week, they went and played New York Red Bulls, and they lost 1-0. And Neville got kicked out. He is no longer the head coach. He is our third coach fired this season already. The thing here is this fair, right? So if we look at the standings right now, they are still... How do I put it? They are... How do I
You had a loss of weight.
They are last. But...
So you struggle with saying that they're not a good team.
But they are what? 4 points, 5 points off the playoff line?
That's the thing about it. Yeah.
It's not that far off of making the playoffs right now, and he's doing this with his 2 best central midfielders out injured. What is he supposed to do when your 2 best central midfielders are out for long periods of time? What are you expected to do? Are you expected to win every game? And this is the same amount of points that they had this same game week, or at this same game week last season, and they still got a good push towards the end of the season, finished 5th and made the playoffs, right? So now you're at the exact same place you were last year where you deemed it acceptable, right? Without your 2 best central midfielders, and now you decide it's time to fire him?
You gotta make changes, man.
I don't see it. I don't see any coach being able to walk into the system and get a win. And we see that because the new interim head coach walked into the system and got a loss today, right? Like this is not on the manager. They are still being competitive. Yeah, they're not great. Obviously, they're the worst in the East now, but they weren't horrendous. They were in every game. They weren't getting beaten. They were doing it without their best players.
Yeah, and I think the roster was still trying to figure itself out.
And it's a coach that's proven that he can make late season pushes and get you into the playoffs. He's a coach that has proven it. So why not?
I still, bro, and you had so many pieces you had to integrate that kind of looked like they could fit together, then they couldn't fit together, then it was like, oh, this 2, if once they hit it, they can make it work. And I'm talking about who
Joseph and Pizarro.
Yeah, it's like you see it there, but can you unlock? So there was so many things going on that I would have given them the year to figure it out. Like if they made a push like after like the halfway mark, I would have had a conversation with them. Maybe we're halfway through. At this point, you should have a feel of what's up. This is like, we want to see something different, and we want to be as upfront with you as possible, you know? And I think a coach will appreciate that. I don't know. But I think they should have given him the whole year, because
no one's fixing this.
I'm not even seeing you fix unless they just get all new players.
Not only players, but if you get your 2 midfielders back.
No, but that will also change the way the game is played right now. So the whole game will play.
Yeah,
it will change. Yeah,
I think this is a bit harsh. I look at this kind of
because it's not his fault. It's
No, it's I look at this like Hendrickson getting fired in Chicago.
What was he
I didn't
do,
blame Hendrickson. I don't blame Neville for this.
Yeah.
I don't think in either of those scenarios bringing in an interim or any head coach to replace it is going to fix it. But it is what it is. But now the question is, who is going to be the fourth coach fired? I'm looking at Robin Fraser, who is someone I spoke highly of. I love him. I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. But his Colorado side, who, 2 seasons ago finished second in the West, are now the worst team on points per game in MLS entirely. They're worse than your LA Galaxy.
Dang.
They
Jesus.
are the worst. And it's right now they are tied 0-0 against San Jose in the 82nd minute, and they have a red card. Not looking good there. Their last game against Columbus, loss. Their last game against Cincinnati, loss. Real Salt Lake, loss. Real Salt Lake again, loss. That was in the Open Cup. Atlanta, loss. Philadelphia, loss.
Of course.
They beat a USL team in the Open Cup, so that's good for them. They beat a second division team. But no, their last win in league, you have to go back to May 6th when they played LA Galaxy, who, like we're saying, are one of the worst teams in the league. And that was their last win, right? And then going back before that, like, you just have to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And I don't think you ever find it. I believe that was their only win of the season.
I really thought they brought in Cabral. Was it this year or was it last year when they brought in Cabral?
They brought him in this year from LA.
There was so many, like, so much. I mean, at least for me and what I was hearing and watching, like, especially ESPN FC, there was. I think they talked about it a little bit where this kid could have been like good, but I don't see what I kind of expected as well. So I don't really know what's going on with them. But hey,
so Cabral this season, he has gotten 2 goals in 14 matches. He's also gotten 6 yellow cards. He's gotten more yellow cards.
He has a yellow card as we speak right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he has gotten 3 times as many yellow cards as he has gotten goals. Not good.
He's young though.
He is, and he is someone that they like. Everyone talks about him being a high level player. When he was brought in, I believe it was from France to LA Galaxy, everyone thought he was going to be the next big thing, right? And he just never hit at LA Galaxy, but he looked good in France. He looks good when he was in LA. He was getting in all the positions to score. All of his underlying numbers for goal scoring was incredible. One of the best in the league. He just couldn't put the ball in the net to save his life, right? Once he figures out how to put the ball in the net, which we talked about before, they say the hardest thing in soccer is to score goals, right?
But
no, the hardest thing in soccer to do is get into position to score goals. Once you get into the position, putting the ball in the net is easy. It comes. You just have to keep doing the right thing. And he's still doing the right thing. So I still see a path for him to be a high-level player in this league.
He's only,
what, not it right now.
22, 23?
23.
Yeah,
23.
bro, he young. He cool. He gonna be all right.
I think he will hit eventually. It might not be this season, but I think next season he'll hit.
But I don't think he's ever... I see, honestly, his potential. Maybe we're wrong on this one. I see him being like a very, very, very good MLS player. I don't see him like transferring out, going like overseas or something.
I don't,
because of some of the consistency that I'm seeing now. He's going to hit, but I think his ceiling is gonna end up being like a really great MLS player.
I think there's 2 reasons for him to not go to Europe. A is he came here from Europe, the second division in France, right? He, by the time he does, if he hits and eventually consistently becomes good, he'll probably be 25, 26.
Yeah.
that's not a young player by any means, especially to go to Europe and try to make a career.
I would take advantage of the MLS as much as I can.
Exactly. At that point, I would look to try to be a franchise player, get that extra bag there to stay at one club and be the guy instead of
come back to LA, bro.
Instead of going to Europe, bouncing around trying to find a footing, and then all of a sudden you're 30 and you haven't had a career.
Because they're never gonna give him a team, the key to a team in Europe. He's never gonna get that, but he could, if he works hard enough, he has a potential to get that here.
For sure.
Yeah. So hopefully he's able to get that. All right, awesome. So let's keep moving on, man. We just live in a beautiful city, man. Cincinnati FC Cincinnati. They've made the city. So I don't know what's been happening with sports in Cincinnati the past 2 years. The Bengals are getting good. The Reds are the only one that's garbage. But FC Cincinnati, So they need to get some advice from FC Cincinnati or Bengals or something. But it looks like FC Cincinnati might set an expectation where we expect them now to give us good entertainment in the city of Cincinnati now.
So they won again. They are still perfect. I believe 8-0. Maybe it's 9-0 now at home. Have not lost or tied at home this season. They've only lost one game out of the 16 this season so far. Their pace, no team in MLS history has gotten more points in 16 matches than FC Cincinnati has in MLS history. That's with excluding the shootout era, because there was an era in MLS where ties weren't allowed and they would go to like essentially penalties. It was where a player would be put on a one-on-one from 30 yards out with the goalkeeper. But other than that era where there were no ties, this is the best record ever in MLS. Better than the Philadelphia from a couple years ago, better than LAFC last year. This is the best start to a team, and we're halfway through the season. Next week is literally the halfway point of the season.
It doesn't look that they're slowing down.
No. Like, okay, Brenner's going to leave. Brenner's already gone, right? Like, he hurt his ankle. He's in Brazil getting treatment. He's not with the team, so when he officially departs to go to Europe, that's not going to affect him. So they're not going to lose any of their star players.
And honestly, too, they don't have like the best player at all positions. At least to my opinion, they don't have like they don't always
Costa.
Other than Ucho Acosta he's always that one guy that you're gonna also have that one guy on the team. But when you start measuring like midfield to midfield, player to player, like pure talent, that's what I'm talking about.
I would say pure talent. Their defense is one of the best defenses.
But the reason why I want to bring midfield talent and attack talent like the forwards is because I want to talk about Noonan for a little bit. I think this is purely a product of a system that's working, or some sort of, I don't know what kind of magic word is telling them, what kind of Kool-Aid is making them drink, but they're drinking the Kool-Aid. Because I think he came here in December of 2021. And ever since then, it's been kind of nothing but just going up. So, I think he's in his 40s, right?
He's a young coach.
Yeah, young coach. Doing some great things, man. What's going on there? What do you think this means for him? What do you have to say just about Noonan altogether with the job that he's been doing with Cincinnati?
So let's see here. How do I put this? In the first 3 seasons for FC Cincinnati, right, in their existence in MLS, Noonan was not their coach. In fact, they had 3 different coaches in 3 years. It was a dumpster fire. They were the worst team in MLS every single year. Not just the worst team in the Eastern Conference, the worst team. They got the wooden spoon 3 years in a row. Noonan comes in, they finish 5th.
About a year and a half ago, yeah.
They finished 5th, right? In his first year with the team.
Yeah.
They win a playoff game against New York Red Bulls, right? Now, in his second year, they are the best team after 16 weeks in MLS history. He took the worst team in MLS history and made them the best team in MLS history in a year and a half. Literally, like, the sky's the limit for this coach. He's young. He has proven himself already. He will be the next American coach to really get his chance at Europe, right? We're talking Jesse Marsh, Bob Bradley type of coaches that have gotten opportunities but haven't necessarily succeeded with them, right? He is going to be the next American coach to get the opportunity. I guarantee it. And I think he will take it. Like, there's not going to be a system that he goes into anywhere in a European top 5 league that is more dysfunctional than what Cincinnati was when he took over. Mm-hmm. And now it's not all him. Part of it is their technical director.
Yeah.
I just had his name. I'll get back to it later. Mm-hmm. But they both came in at the same time, and it completely restructured the way the system works there, right? Mm-hmm. Man, it's going to bother me now that I can't remember his name. Chris Albright.
I was actually looking it up for you.
Yeah, no, Chris Albright. So they've come in, and they were both Philadelphia Union guys. And Philadelphia Union is one of the best run clubs in the league, right? Like, the way they work their youth academies, their structure through and through. They are one of the best run clubs in MLS.
Yeah.
Both those guys cut their teeth there, now come to be the big shots at a dysfunctional team, bring functionality to it,
and works.
And now it's the best thing in the league.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so.
And we wonder why Philly's such a good team.
Exactly. When you can have your essentially your bench coaching staff come and succeed. It's something special. Something I want to touch on, and had it here in written form, and I can't find it, so my numbers aren't going to be perfect by any means, but Brandon Vasquez last season finished, I think, 4th in the league for goals, and I think it was something like 16 goals he finished with.
Where's it now?
In his 5 years before that season in MLS, I think he scored like 4 goals.
He matched it.
Right? Pat Noonan comes into this, sees a young striker, and says, I like it. I'm going to tweak it a little bit. I'm going to tweak the formation to fit him a bit better, tweak the tactics, because I like what he's doing here, and now turns him into one of the best goal scorers in the league.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Lucho Acosta was struggling. Now he's given him that free-ranging player role. One of the best, again, he was very good when he played with Rooney at DC United, but turned him back into one of the best playmakers in the league, right? He comes in, he immediately realizes this defense is not an MLS defense. He brings in...
Don't they have a player on a loan or something?
Yersin Mosquera.
Yeah, he's my favorite defender right now.
He's phenomenal. Yeah. And the best part about this loan is it's not up to... the English club that owns him to renew it. If they want to extend the loan, it's fully up to FC Cincinnati.
They will.
And his loan ends this summer. So in the middle of the season, his loan ends. I guarantee you they extend it. They have to.
It's not even a question. It is, and like, he's not the anchor of their defense, but it is, to my opinion, this is something you and I have gone back and forth. He is not the anchor, but he is the best defender they have, personally. I'll say the most valuable one, at least.
He is, because he's their aggressive defender. He's the one that jumps a line to attack the ball before it can get to the other defenders. He does a really good job at that. And it's very physical and always walking the line of, ooh, that could have been a red card, but it wasn't.
So I think other sports do a good job at this, other than us here especially in the MLS in America, where we kind of say certain things about our coaches. And I think I'm going to go ahead and say, I think what we have here with Noonan is just like a leader of man. This dude just knows how to identify what you're good at and put you in a position to do it. Because I even think about, I always forget this name. They have a player that I like very much that's in a bench right now. He's an Asian player.
Kubo.
He
started today.
He started today?
Because they have a game U.S. Open Cup game midweek, like Tuesday, Wednesday. So they're kind of resting a few players.
Yeah,
but he started.
But I'm just saying, like, if I'm him, I'm like trying to. But he's so like he knows that this the system. This dude don't work here. Like he's able to make those decisions and like and he's so calm, man. I've been to a couple of the Cincinnati games. So calm. He never wavers. Nothing. He's just walking around with his just skinny jeans. Just chill. So I like him. Keep doing what you're doing, man. We excited here in the city of Cincinnati. So, all right. So, looks like Philly just was messing with us, man.
Yeah, I told you it was going to be all right. You hit the panic button a little bit for Philadelphia a couple weeks ago, saying they have to do something. It was just CCL, right? Like they just playing in the CONCACAF Champions League takes a toll on almost all teams. The only team that I've seen it never taken a toll on is LAFC. Mm-hmm. Somehow they're still performing in the Champions League and performing very well in the league. But they're a freak of nature of a team, LAFC. So it takes a toll on a team, right? But since getting knocked out of the CCL, they have played 7 MLS games, right? They've won 6, tied 1. 0 losses. They've got 19 points out of a possible 21 points. Mm-hmm. The only thing holding them back at the beginning of the season was CCL. Like that was it, right?
Now it makes sense.
Hit their stride. Like
now we made
a great team.
You predicted it. You saw it. You saw it very clearly from the beginning, and I kept asking myself, I'm like, what is going on with Philly? And you saw and you told me, and I was like, nah, they suck.
I mean,
no. I mean, they were still doing way better than other players, but it was just like because they were in the final last year, I just expected them to come and just make so much noise. But now they're back and focusing on this, and let's see. If they're gonna hit another level up, I'm telling Nashville and Cincinnati to watch out.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think they'll continue this pace. And I mean, you had a right to be a little concerned because I think they had 11 points out of their first 9 games of the season.
Yeah.
And that's not good enough for Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It's good enough to roughly make the playoffs at the 9 seed or so. But this now hitting 19 points out of possible 21, that's domination.
They're 3rd place now.
Yeah, they're 3rd place.
They're just like, now let's go back.
Only 1 point behind Nashville, 9 points behind Cincinnati. Yeah. Cincinnati still has a comfortable spot there. Yeah. And will probably finish the season at 1.
Yeah.
But I could very easily see Philadelphia usurping Nashville.
2nd place, yeah. But isn't this what we say was going to happen? We knew 1, 2, 3 was going to be between those teams, shuffling whoever you want to put at 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
I had Nashville. I had Philly as 1, Nashville as 2nd. You had Nashville as 1.
I had Nashville as 1. I think I had Cincinnati at 4 though, and I think I had New York Red Bulls at 2.
Oh, okay.
So that's not going well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm very high on New York.
Yeah, awesome. So there's some good things happening in Minnesota. I don't know how to classify it because it's kind of good news, and then there's like contract stuff and stuff. So Minnesota, Reynoso is back.
Reynoso is back. People were calling him Reynoso for a little while. We talked about this on the pod. Go back and give it a listen. But essentially, he decided he wasn't going to come back to Minnesota. He was just going to chill at home for a while and just do his thing and completely void his contract. And it got to the point where MLS decided they were going to suspend him. And then he decided, you know what? Fine, suspend me. I'm going to show up now. And as soon as he shows up, MLS is like, that suspension? Yeah, no, it's over. We don't have to worry about it. It's the fakest suspension ever. It's literally suspending him when he says he doesn't want to be here, and then when he says he wants to be here, he's no longer suspended.
What suspension?
That's the worst punishment ever.
Hey, you're in suspension, but what he goes, what's the end date? Whenever you decide to show up, man.
I think I took this on the pod like a couple weeks ago. It's literally like telling a 2-year-old to go to their room for timeout, but they're already taking a nap in their room.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
stay in your room. Don't come out. Just keep.
like, it's not a punishment. He's all right. He doesn't care. But he's back, and he's after, like, I think he probably had 2 practice sessions with the team because there was a midweek game, so they weren't practicing consistently the whole week he's been here. But he got the last 20 minutes of the game, or really closer to the last 25 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And he looked good. Actually, he looked really good. Wasn't perfect, but he did look influential.
First game back.
It was his first game back, and the whole tone changed once he got in the game. And they went down in the 58th minute to Lorenzo Insigne. They're like, all right, bring him in.
Didn't they tie when
They brought him in, and they ended up getting equalizer. It wasn't necessarily because of him, but the whole pace changed.
Yeah.
And he looked really good. He celebrated the goal. He looked like he was a part of the team. The fans were cheering when he came in. It didn't look like there's any love lost in Minnesota against him, any hate towards him. It looked really, really good and natural with him there. And now the exciting thing is here, that's one of their DPs back, right? Another DP of theirs in Amarilla, who has not hit, their DP number 9.
Yeah. That's what I mentioned by, like, not so great news.
He went on loan for a little bit out. His contract now has been terminated.
Yeah.
He hasn't been with the team anyways, so that's done.
Yeah.
Now they have a DP opening, and there's talks of bringing in Timo Pukki, who...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, he's not... When you think of a legendary striker, like, he's not a Benteke, but he's bounced around, played a little in the Premier League,
so
played in the Championship.
Is legendary?
Benteke, I've always said that he is legendary.
I've always said that.
The one thing I said was I don't think he's going to succeed in MLS. But his history, he was a starter for the Belgian national. He was a starter for Liverpool. He is a historic and legendary.
I know. That's just why I never got the
high level. And I've said that before, that he is a class.
I didn't hear you say that. All I heard was hate.
I have said when he scored a goal, right?
Which he scores like every other game.
But you were going crazy because it was a header goal at the back post.
Isn't this what a striker is supposed to do? Score goals. And Benteke score goals.
This were my exact words were, you want more from a legendary goal scorer.
Oh, okay. You want more. So your expectation is that you want more.
You want more than just a guy that puts a ball in the net, right? Like, you want him to do things that any player can't necessarily do, right? When you get a player of that level, and he's starting to do that now, but he didn't for the first 8 months of his time in MLS. So I think it was fair to criticize him. But
well,
no,
I mean, the formation they had going on, man, they was trying to like force 2 strikers that have never played with another striker before. So it was a whole struggle figuring out a new way to play and all that. But enough about Benteke, man. So who do you think they should bring in if they don't bring in Pukki?
Honestly, Pukki is the one name I've heard thrown about, right? And if for whatever reason it doesn't land, I don't think they should bring in anyone just to bring in someone, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you've done all this time to identify Pukki as your player, and that will fit your system, and now all of a sudden say it falls apart for whatever reason, and now you just want to scrap together something, hope this guy works. Don't do that. That's just going to be another failure at the 9 position. So I hope that they just keep playing the way they've been playing with Reynoso in, balling out, becoming the player he is, right? Like, he is truly one of the best 10s in this league. So I think if you can't get the guy that you've identified for the last couple months to be your guy, then you just don't get anyone. You don't want to just try to fit someone in, because that's when you get an Ake Loba that failed. That's when you get an Amarilla that failed. You want to get the guy you want, not just someone to fill the spot. Because right now they're doing okay. They're not doing great, but they're doing okay.
They're doing okay. I mean,
and Reynoso will elevate this.
And I think, what are they in the playoff picture? Let me go back to the standings.
I think they are just on the fringe. I think they're like 8th or 9th.
Yeah, they're 7th actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm okay with that. We're still making the playoffs.
Not Reynoso.
It's Minnesota. Like, I'm not expecting Minnesota to be that crazy. So yeah, I'm cool with it. All right, this feels like a good stopping point. We're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back here for our second part.